Let's see what's going on with the verbal diarrhea festival. The Festival of Diarrhea. Here's a guy. Via Zoom, what do we say?
To work on Parliament Hill.
We're going to give him 30 seconds.
All of the structure and what went on within those walls. It was also the summer of 1990 where we witnessed another crisis, the Ilka crisis.
Yeah. Did you call it?
We had non-Indigenous men, investors, wanting to build a golf course on a traditional Mohawk burial site. This crisis of 1990 forced the Conservative government of the day to send in the military after a request from the provincial Quebec government. I have seen and participated in many peaceful protests and have witnessed many different protests in front of Parliament Hill.
If he says but, I'm done.
From people across the political spectrum.
If he says but, we're done.
But what we have witnessed in the past weeks is anything but a protest.
Liar.
What seemed like a protest quickly became an occupation, which quickly became an illegal occupation. Paralyzing the city of Ottawa and its residents is something we have not seen before.
Lie.
Not in Canada.
Oh, you saw it now, by the way, because the government just did it.
Posing as Indigenous peoples, including several organizers. Now, I do not know for a fact if these people are Indigenous or not, but what I do know is that many Indigenous peoples across the country and organizations have denounced the cultural appropriation being exercised by some of these individuals.
Sir, Big Bull was Indigenous. Big Bear was Indigenous.
We saw how
Tamara Licks is Indigenous. So this guy just called into question, but then said, I don't want to...
fake news towards reporters who are part and parcel of our democracy.
No, they're not.
Reporters being spat on.
They were not. Lie.
We have witnessed more interest in U.S. media making absolute false statements about what is really happening in Canada.
He's trying to get on Fox.
The amount of misinformation is pervasive because it affects us all.
Well, it's not pervasive because it affects you all. It's pervasive and then might affect you all.
Associated Canada's Prime Minister to Hitler. How infantile can grown man be?
Why don't you just respond to the substance of that accusation?
And it's
Hitler, by the way, we're taking this guy out. I'm sorry.
Moving forward or taking a few steps
let me just put him on mute so that I don't have to hear him on my end because I still hear him. It's burning my ear brains. By the way, comparing him to Hitler is juvenile. It doesn't even merit a response. Hitler in 1933 invoked the Reichstag fire, which was arguably, but not arguably, set up by Hitler so that he could go after and persecute his political adversaries. He then used the emergency declaration after the Reichstag fire to suspend Parliament for the further purposes of persecuting ad infinitum his political adversaries. What do you think Trudeau just did with this? Because we didn't have a Reichstag fire. We didn't need to have one because the media that this individual was just touting as trustworthy and laudable just said we had one. They just said this whole thing was violent. This guy here just said that the Indigenous people protesting, he doesn't know if they were Indigenous, but they don't represent. I'm sorry, sir. Go. Justin Trudeau is doing exactly what was done in 1933 Germany. He's not doing what was done in 1939 Germany, but he's doing exactly what was done in 1933 Germany, except Trudeau didn't even have to set up his own false flag of a Reichstag fire. He just had to lie about the most peaceful protest that lasted 3 weeks without incident until he showed up with his cops. Just had to lie about it, and his media did all the hard work for him. What did I say we were going to talk about next? Pat King. Let's go to the bail. Let's go to the bail hearing. Share. My God, it's repulsive and not. They're not paid actors. They're not actors. They're just useful individuals. Oh, I can't share more than one screen at a time. That's why. So I have to stop the screen. We'll come back. Anybody in the chat who sees the vote going on, let me know. I cannot listen to this anymore. I can't listen to it anymore. So. No, that's absolutely not what I'm trying to bring up. Share screen. And we'll get to the bail hearing tonight. And then we'll get to the defamation. During the elections, Justin Trudeau. No, forget it. Right now, we're going to deal with Rebel News and the fact that Alexa Lavoie was shot in the leg point blank by Justin Trudeau's RCMP that he called in to deal with this protest. Alexa Lavoie from Rebel News. And if there's ever been any doubt, Rebel News might get things wrong from time to time. I don't think they've ever gotten something so materially wrong that they deserve to be discredited, period. Alexa Lavoie has cojones that you cannot possibly imagine on any human being. And during the elections, she went and asked Justin Trudeau a question about whether or not Canada is going to make 2 booster shots mandatory like they've done in Israel. That was shortly after Justin Trudeau had spent his time demonizing rebel media. She was shot in the leg point blank by the RCMP officer despite having her rebel media credentials and a microphone in her hand. And I want everyone to watch
Bonjour,
this.
M. Trudeau, Alexandre pour Rebel News. Donc, M. Trudeau, je vais revenir rapidement sur ce qui s'est passé hier. Vous avez diabolisé l'un des rares médias qui ne reçoit pas d'argent du gouvernement. Vous avez exprimé votre opinion en disant que nous propageons la désinformation. Si c'était vrai et si c'était le cas, la Cour fédérale ne nous aurait pas permis d'être suivis. Aurez-vous l'obligeance de répondre à ma question en tant que Premier ministre ou allez-vous encore diaboliser mon média?
Will you answer my question, which was about the vaccines?
J'ai partagé ma perspective sur ton organisation
I share my perspective
hier
on your
soir.
organization.
J'ai plus
Yes.
rien à dire.
I have nothing more to say. Look at that pompous prick to look away from her. And this is the day before yesterday. They shot her in the leg with a tear gun canister.
Bring her out. Bring her out. Come on. Bring her out. It's sulfur. You gotta take that shit out.
And I don't want anybody laughing at a woman crying, period. I don't want anyone making jokes about her mascara running because she was sobbing because she'd been shot point blank in the leg by a tear gun canister. I don't want any stupid jokes. I don't want anyone making jokes about a screaming woman, period. I believe they're going to be suing. If I know anything about Rebel News, they're going to... Am I muted? Please tell me if I'm muted. Can you hear me, people? This makes me vomit. Can you hear me? Say that. Mic check 1 2. I don't want anyone making jokes. No, but people would laugh. People are going to say, "Oh, you got what you deserve. Oh, you're acting. Because we didn't see the moment that she was shot in the leg, but I saw the aftermath." Am I muted? I'm not muted. Okay, thank you. This is a government. Justin Trudeau in September. J'ai dit tout ce que j'avais à dire. J'ai plus rien à dire. I've said everything I have to say to you. I've got nothing more to say. And he turns away. And then by accident, the RCMP that he calls in, the RCMP is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They respond to the federal. They are federal. They're federally mandated. They just happen to shoot her in the leg with a tear gun canister. Now, anybody who's been shot by a paintball, it hurts, but not enough to cry, maybe enough to make you laugh unless you get it in the wrong part of your body. I want everyone to understand what just happened there. That is Justin Trudeau's police, at his request, at his behest, at his demand. They were called in by him, for him, shooting a journalist in the leg, not with a gun, not with a bullet, with a tear gun canister. Those things weigh, I don't know, 6 ounces. They weigh enough that they need to be able to be fired a distance away to disperse a crowd. And from what I understand, maybe the individual pulled the trigger by accident, but why would I presume these weapons have safeties nonetheless. I believe that it was not an accident. That's my belief. But setting my belief aside, it happened. And don't anyone say, I didn't see when it happened. She's a faker. She's Rebel News fake. Keep that. You could think those. You don't say it, and you'll get laughed out of the room. So that's what happened to her. They might be. She went to the hospital. It was a contusion is different than a bruise in terms of seriousness. This is the only joke I'll bring up, because funny. I say funny is funny, and dark humor can still be funny. This is just, and by the way, these are the same. This is what the buffoons in the Senate right now are voting on. Yeah, you want to talk about what the Emergencies Act is for? Maybe you should invoke the Emergencies Act to strip Justin Trudeau of any power whatsoever. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. Shocking and offensive. Clip that, share this, let the world know.